Kamloops' warm weather has finally arrived, and with it, forest fire season has begun. Kamloops Fire Rescue has already been busy tackling several human-caused wildfires. Fire Chief Steve Robinson is asking for Kamloops residents' help in preventing these fires from starting in and around the city.
We have not had significant amount of precipitation in the last 6 weeks, so yes, absolutely we need to be concerned about this. One of the biggest concerns always for Kamloops fire as we get to this time of year is wildfire, and in particular in the Cooney Bay area. We've had many unattended campfires out in the Cooney Bay area that have sparked fires, and that draws significant resources away from the city of Kamloops for us to combat those fires. It costs the city money in our response and delays our responses to other more critical life-saving emergencies. Yeah, in particular out in that area, it's very well signed. The campfires aren't allowed, and again, as a City of Kamloops bylaw, campfires are not allowed, so significant fines could result. Up to $500 for unattended campfire, and if we find somebody that leaves a campfire unattended that spreads to the remaining area, causes us to deploy resources out there, we'll look at, if we can determine who it was, we'll look at cost recovery, and that could be in the thousands of dollars.
So right now the Kamloops area is seeing unseasonably hot and dry weather conditions, and this is quite unusual for April for this time of year. Our fuels, such as grasses or trees, are still dry and dead from over the winter. They haven't had a chance to green up or regain their moisture yet, which makes them very susceptible to fire. So it's extremely important that people are being cautious with their fire usage right now to prevent a human-caused wildfire. We haven't experienced any lightning at this time of the year, which means that all these fires are suspected to be human-caused. And the most important thing to note with that is that human-caused fires are entirely preventable, so we need to be doing everything we can to make sure that they're not occurring. If you are planning to have a fire of any size, please make sure that you don't burn while it's windy, you have enough tools and water on hand to extinguish your fire, and never ever leave it unattended. You always want to make sure before you leave an area that the fire is cool to the touch, so there's no chance for it to reignite after you're gone. Abandoned campfires definitely could start wildfires. If you leave a fire unattended, you may not see any smoke anymore, but you really want to make sure the ashes are cool to the touch, because if wind comes through the area later, it can reignite embers and carry them over to dry fuels, which therefore would start a wildfire. So it's so important that if you are planning to have a campfire or any type of fire, you really make sure that you're following all those protocols, bring enough water, bring tools, and make sure it is completely cool before you leave the area. Even though it's April, it's still early in the year. That doesn't mean that we can't have wildfires. The fuels are extremely dry, conditions are still hot, so we need to be as cautious now as we are in August.
People abandon a campfire, a little bit of wind picks up, it blows an ember into this dry grass. If you look around here, the grass is dry, and it can easily start a grass fire that, once it hits the trees, turns into heavy timber.
Kamloops Fire Rescue wants to remind residents that if you're planning to have a campfire in the next few days, make sure it's done safely and ensure you are not inside city limits.
Don't be out there having campfires, and if you see an unattended campfire, if you can put it out safely, put it out.